Hey guys, as most of y'all know, I bought a 20 gauge this year to hunt with, and that means I'm gonna have to change out the foam insert in my travel gun case for flying. And I bought some plane tickets last week, and it kind of made me think about getting on this project. I wish I would have done the video on actually cutting it out, but I wanted to kind of go over what I carry in this gun case, how I've got it all laid out, why. I'll give you some tips that I use that's helped me flying with a gun. It can be pretty intimidating if you've never done it. Uh, I feel like it's like taking a set of golf clubs to me now. I mean, it's no different than flying with anything else. But the first couple times you kind of wonder what's going to happen in the process. So I'm going to walk you through what I've got here. Maybe it'll help you this spring if you're traveling somewhere for the first time. Or maybe if you've done it before, maybe one of these other, there's some other videos out about this. I've got a few things added to mine that I haven't seen before. So maybe this will help you even if you have flew before with the gun. So we'll start out. This is a Pelican hard case. I've had this thing for probably 5-6 years now. It is the 3410 model. It's got 5 of these snaps on the front or on the top. It's got 4 lockable holes for your your locks that you put on it. We'll just start up here at the top. This is a removable foam piece. All the foam is removable, but this up here, I found this a good spot for me to, let's see. This is just a good spot for me to put stuff that's flat, that's lightweight, that's doesn't affect it any. I've got some little disposable lens wipes. You know, you can throw them up there. I've got a scope on my gun. I use them for my binoculars. I've got my binos here for my binoculars. You can lay them flat up here and store them up here. I carry my gun sling up here. It lays flat. It's a perfect spot for it. Since I've got this broke down, I've got it. My gun sits very tight in this foam, so there's really not a good place to put the sling. One other really important thing that I do carry is a bore snake. These things are a lifesaver if you've never used one. I'll put a link down in the description down below. You can check them out. They're pretty cheap. I usually run this thing through my barrel every time I shoot if I'm able to. Or if I'm out in the woods and I trip and fall, my barrel goes down into the dirt or in the mud. You can take this thing and run it through there and it'll clean it out. It'll look like you just cleaned it with a gun cleaning kit. That's very important. I carry some earplugs with me. You never know when you're going to have to go shoot your gun just to sight it in or, just to check it. I also carry some of these stick-on stickers. It's easy to find a piece of cardboard or something, so I can just stick one of these on there and shoot at it if I need to shoot it on the road just to check it. They don't take up any room. I mean, why not have them in there? This is something that I started carrying because I was just wanting to cut down on any trouble at the ticket counter. When I go to check this gun in, the first thing they're going to ask you to do is open your case up and verify that it is unloaded. So I've done this for quite a while now, and I've talked to a bunch of people at these ticket counters, and one thing I figured out, some of them, they're a breeze. You open it up, sign your card saying it's unloaded, put it in here and lock it back and you're on your way. I've had others, you open it up and it's a gun and they look at it and they act like they've never even seen a gun before. So what I've done, I printed this right off the TSA website, and it's transporting firearms and ammunition regulations. It tells you, it's got every regulation on here, what you need to do to travel with a firearm. So if I'm at the ticket counter and they've got questions or, holding me up, you can pull this paper out if you wanted to and hand it to them and say, if they're unsure about something, you can say, hey, here it is. I printed it straight off the website. So this might cut down on some trouble for you flying, get you through the line quicker, and you won't miss a plane. So that's just something that I do. And but anyway, I think that covers everything in the top up here. We'll put this foam piece back in. Before we get into the main compartment here, I want to show you something that I pack in here. One of my favorite things that I've got in this gun case. The brand is a Bob Allen, and this is they call it a gun sleeve, is what the name of it is. And it folds up, it can roll up. But what I use this for, whenever I get to wherever I'm hunting, I don't want to lug this big case around. So I usually get my gun out, put it together, and I'll slide it in this sleeve, and I'm ready to go. I mean, a lot of places require you to travel, if you're traveling in a vehicle, that you have it in a case, and this works perfect. It's enough to protect your gun. Sure, it's not padded like most gun cases, but it does have some padding to it. It's going to keep it from getting scratched, or, it will offer some protection. This thing will fit perfectly. I can lay it right there on top of everything. I can close the lid down and it's ready to go. So it's always with me. It's right here. I highly recommend getting one of these. I'll put a link down below for where you can get one of these from. They're pretty cheap. Well worth it. Worth every penny. Okay, on the main gun case compartment, what we'll just start on this side and work our way down. The first thing I carry this is just a digital scale. I've had this thing for probably 20 years now. It's always worked fine. I've never had any trouble with it. I usually put a new battery in it at the first of the year, and I like to record all my turkey weights, my beard lengths. I keep a spreadsheet on this and just keep up with them. It's something that I've always enjoyed doing. I always take lots of pictures of them. It's a good record keeping for your turkeys. So that's something that I enjoy doing and I take with me. The next thing that I take is just a pair of pruners. A lot of people just throw these in the back of your vest. This is just a good way to carry it. I would consider this like a knife or a sharp object, so it's not something you'd want to throw on your carry-on bag. So I just put it in my gun case. I had extra room here. It's a good, convenient place to carry it. Also, my knife. I've got just a folding knife with disposable blades. It makes it real easy when you're traveling. You can throw that in here. You don't have to worry about getting mixed up and having a knife on a carry-on. That will throw a red flag. I carry my binoculars in here, and you can put these in anything, but they weigh a little bit. Most binoculars, all that stuff adds up. Once you get your vest, your boots, all that other stuff, and your other carry-on, you get over that 50-pound mark pretty quick carrying a bunch of stuff. You throw them in here, they're protected. This is probably the safest place you could carry them. They fit right in there. If you got room, that's where I would recommend putting them. The next thing is my shells. I always put them on this end of this gun case. There's some wheels or rollers. The handle is right here at the top. You want to always put the heaviest items you have down towards these rollers. You don't want that to be top heavy. So whenever you lay out your foam and getting ready to cut it out, put all your heavy objects down on this end, wherever your wheels are at, and it'll make it a whole lot easier on you carrying this thing through the airport. But anyway, back to the shells. One important thing I want to say about these, this is not a full box of shells. I've got 2 shells missing in this one. I've been out shooting last weekend, but before I fly, I will have this box completely full. You don't want to go to the airport with a partial box of shells. You want this thing to be full. I've had some people check it at the counter. They've asked me to open my ammunition boxes up, and they will see if it's full or not. For a couple of reasons, really, it'll protect your shells if it's a full box. They won't be rattling around. So that's one positive for having a full box. One thing you're going to find out once you go wherever you're hunting, if you shoot a turkey, you're going to have one less shell. So what I've found to do, what I've done in the past, I will get that shell hole. I always save them anyway. I write the state and the date on the empty shell hole. But I will roll that crimping, I'll push it back down, and I will stick it right back into this box. That way when I open this box up, it's a full box of shells. There's no loose, none of them are loose or rattling around. It might get you through the ticket counter quicker. So that would be my recommendation on that part of it. And you should pick up your shell holes anyway. It's not good to just leave them laying there. I usually carry 2 boxes of shells. That box will hold 12, so I can carry 24 total. You never know what you're going to get into. I mean, yeah, you probably don't need 24 shells on a trip, but if you get out and you have to shoot your gun, sight it in, you damage some shells, anything can happen. Just take more than what you need. That way you don't have to worry about trying to find something somewhere. The next thing I've got, I did break my gun down into 2 pieces. I've got my barrel here. One thing I will say about this, don't, always leave about an inch gap or inch of foam in between the outside of your case and whatever you're trying to protect, whether it's your gun or whatever. And that's the reason I put my gun right in the dead center of this case. That's where you're going to get the most protection of anywhere. So I put in, especially with one with a scope on it, I have been shooting a scope, and that's why I've positioned it right in the center of the gun case. One other thing that I've done, I put a trigger guard on my trigger. When you get up to that ticket counter, if somebody that is not familiar with guns sees that on there, it makes them feel safer, and they might get you through the process quicker. If they see that on there, it might make them feel better. I don't know. I want to do whatever I can do to get through that ticket counter as fast as I can. I don't like being held up. I don't like to be waiting on people to ask somebody else about something. So I think it does I think it does help a little bit. So one thing about putting a trigger guard on, they make a couple different ones. The very first one that I bought was a keyed one, and you had to carry a key with you. I highly recommend not doing that. I found this one. This is a combination lock trigger guard. If you've got the keyed type, and you lose that key on your trip, I don't know if you could get this thing off. I mean, you'd have to have some really good tools to cut this thing off. I don't know what you would do. So just get a combination. You don't have to worry about a key. Makes it simple. You can pop it on and off pretty quick. But that's why I carry that on there. Same way with breaking the gun down. It might speed up the process. If you open this gun case up, like I said, you're going to have to open this at the ticket counter. They're going to check, make sure it's not loaded. If they see that gun laying there in 2 different pieces, it doesn't feel like they're not going to be as concerned if they see a gun that's put together. It kind of lowers the, I don't know, somebody that's not familiar with a gun or scared of guns. There is people that are just terrified of guns. If they see it broke down like this right here, they might be more apt to let you get through that, through their line quicker and get you on your way, and you won't have to worry about missing your flights or anything like that. I think that pretty much covers everything in this inside part. So we will shut this thing down and we'll get to the locks. One other thing that I do is I put a name tag. I've got a name tag here with my name and phone number on it. It's a steel cable. It doesn't hurt to have it. I mean, or you could even take a black marker and probably put your name and your address. I don't know if you'd want to put your address, but put your name and just write your name and your phone number on here. If something ever happened to this case, somebody could, if they found it or whatever, they could see your phone number, give you a call, and hopefully get it back to you pretty quick. The last thing that I want to talk about is the locks that go on the front of this thing. I used to buy the TSA locks. That's how I started out. And I couldn't find any that were very, well, I thought they were heavy duty until I came back home from a trip and one was completely missing. It just broke off, just hanging there dangling off of it. So I looked up on the TSA website and double checked that, but you are allowed to use a non-TSA lock on your gun case. So what I found was these master locks. They're pretty much like a combination lock you would use at a school locker or something like that. They're heavy duty. You could take a hammer to these things and you're not going to bust them off there. They are a combination. You don't have to keep up with a key to get them off, which I highly recommend. Once I started traveling with these, I've never had one broke off or something wrong with it. So I would recommend checking into this right here. I think this will, you know, they've never held me up over it. I've never been questioned or anything. So always check the TSA website, make sure it's okay, but I've never had an issue with it. And I've never had a lock broke off since then. So I think that pretty much covers everything on this gun case. So if you guys got any questions about any of this stuff, just shoot me a message or put a comment down below and I'll get back to you about it. Hopefully this will make your travel process smoother. Hopefully there's something that I'm doing will help you as well. So anyway, I hope y'all have a good spring and be careful out there, and we'll see you on the next one.